Well, certainly, if they wanted to get the economy going, they would increase the loans. If they did not want to get the economy going, they would do exactly what they're doing today. And they would not be loaning money when they have it to loan. This is the thing. And I remember, of course, when they gave the major banks the TARP loans, because they said they've got to get the banks loaning to American corporations. So what happened? Well, they lent money to China, they lent money to India, they lent money to Dubai and Spain, but there was no money being lent to the American corporations. Now, how could you explain that logically unless, of course, they wanted to topple our economy? You have to have money for the economy to grow, and they don't want the economy to grow, but they have to give the American people the idea they're doing everything possible to get things corrected, and they're doing everything they can not to get it corrected, but the last thing they want is for the American people to know the truth. We'll be right back here in just a moment with our good friend, Bob Chapman. Well, this is Dr. Stan. Our guest is, of course, Bob Chapman of the International Forecaster. If you're out there in the listening audience, why, give us a call. Our telephone number is 1-888-24-LIBERTY, 1-888-24-LIBERTY, or 464-8295. Here in the Central Coast of California, 464-8295. Bob thinks that the health care bill, the Obama health care bill, the Obama euthanasia bill, which is what he refers to it as, because it really is going to ration access to health care for the elderly. There really is a population control agenda. They want to kill off the elderly, and that's, of course, why they're not doing anything effective to stop the Alzheimer's disease. They know lots of things could be done, but they're not doing it. That, of course, is why they're insisting the elderly people get their influenza shots with a full dose of mercury in them. It doesn't do any good, but it sure does a lot of harm. Same thing, of course, for our kids and for pregnant women. Why would you want to give pregnant women a full dose of mercury and an influenza shot? But I think they may make them mandatory with the new Obama health care euthanasia bill. But certainly Bob is just saying that things are going from bad to worse economically. But they're not letting the American people know.
Too.
And, Bob, I want you to tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you and get a copy of the International Forecaster. Maybe they'd like to subscribe.
Well, I will, but there's one thing I'd like to say. Did you see our health section this past issue?
This is the last time I have not had a chance to read it. I'm about
Well, I want you to look at the health
section. I promise I will. What's in there?
Even though you know what's going on, there's so much in there on these vaccinations and shots and all of the horrible things that the medical profession is doing and the drug companies. You got to take a look at that. But anyway, the International Forecaster is about business, finance, economics, social and political issues all over the world. We publish twice a week by email. Runs around 35 or 40 pages each time. And we also have a hard copy that goes out twice a month for those who are not on the Internet. If you'd like to get a free introductory copy, there's 3 ways you can do it. You can go to our site, theinternationalforecaster.com. That's theinternationalforecaster.com. You can email us at Bob, B-O-B, at intforecaster.com. That's Bob at intforecaster.com. Or you can call 800-375-4188. That's toll free. 800-375-4188. And we send out the latest copy.
Okay, and I certainly recommend it. I look forward to it. This is the first time on a weekend that I have not read that. I wouldn't read it as soon as he gets in there on Friday. But this was Father's Day, and we had a million things going on here. But I will certainly look forward to reading it. I'll probably be reading it this evening. But I ordinarily read it from cover to cover twice a week. Wednesday and Saturday, when the International Forecaster arrives by the miracle of Internet. Well, if you have a question for Bob, 1-888-24-LIBERTY, or here on the Central Coast of California at 464-8295. And certainly we've seen how effective the manipulators are, the so-called plunge protection team. It's known as the Working Group on Financial Markets. And if you doubt that they manipulate the stock market, go up on the internet and read up on the Working Group on Financial Markets or the Plunge Protection Team. And of course, they rig everything. But it's all about perception. If the market's going up, people feel good. And if the market's going down, people feel bad. And of course, they manipulate us, and like they're manipulating the people over there in Iran, like they're manipulating us as our attitude towards what's going on in Iran. And we hear what they want us to hear. If we were hearing, day after day after day about the fact that they manipulated the last elections in South Africa, and there were really hundreds of boxes of votes, with all the votes in them that were found, burning out in the veldt there. And they manipulated, of course, the first election where Nelson Mandela was elected. We never hear about this sort of thing. But they're focusing our attention on Iran today. And through the miracle of television, they can make us believe whatever they want us to believe. Well, let's go to David, who's calling from Vermont. And if you have a question, give us a call. But hi, David. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you. I wanted to ask Bob, why is it that the system is so afraid of having the weights and measures fixed, like Article 1, Section 8 says, to coin money. I'm trying to read it here. To coin money, regulate the value thereof in the foreign coin, and fix the standard of weights and measures. Didn't that mean that they wanted to fix the price of gold so that currency was always known, the value was always known?
No, that's true. They did, and that's why they gave the power to run monetary policy in the Constitution to the U.S. Treasury Department. And after the Civil War, we had a depression worse than the 1930s, and we had panics in 1880. In the 1880s, we had two of them in the 1890s. And we had another one in 1905, so the bankers rubbed their hands and said, well, we can do it better. And so that's why legislators passed the Federal Reserve Act, and of course they haven't done it better. But that's what it means. And another thing in the Constitution, although we amended it for an income tax, but it says taxes should be raised by tariffs. And tariffs were a very common thing. There's only 10 years that we didn't have tariffs back in between 1790 and 1800. And other than that, we became a great nation by creating a fair and level field to operate upon. And maybe some of the foreign exporters didn't like it that much, but it made us the most prosperous nation in the world. And so there's a lot of things in the Constitution that are just ignored. You heard what our past president said, and which was very nasty, but that's atypical coming from him. And the attitude towards the law of the land is just non-existent. They just don't care. They think that they're so powerful they can do anything they want.
And this really is it's an unfortunate situation, but they have the power. They control the media. They control our reality. They form our taste. They mold our opinions, and because of that, most people really don't see what's going on today, David. But I think that, of course, we need to get back to a gold-backed currency. That was what our founding fathers said. But the thing is that if they could do away with gold and silver, if they could have a paper currency, then they could do whatever they wanted to. They could expand the money, and they could, of course, make money out of nothing, and then they could use it to buy the media and buy up the corporations and purchase the support of the politicians. That's exactly what they did in the days of Andrew Jackson. We've got articles that a speech he gave back in 1833 where he talked about how they'd bought up the media at that time. But the average American doesn't understand. This is how the system works. That's why you can go from network to network to network, and they're all talking about the same thing. All incidental things, oh, my goodness, Madonna's going to adopt another child. What's Brad Pitt doing today? And so what is Britney Spears doing? But the important issues we never talk about.